If you knew that you were spending money on marketing, and not just kind of knew, but really internally, emotionally felt that you were spending money on leads, every lead that was burned would make you ill. Because think about it, that's like taking, for the average MSP, your cost per lead is somewhere around $450, $480. So imagine taking $480 out of your pocket and flushing it down the toilet, right? If I used to do this at seminars, I would have attendees pull out $1 from their wallet and tear it up. And to see the look on people's face, to tear up $1, it was like they had this emotional, it was actually first time I learned, because the first time I did it, I had people, tear up the $1 and throw it and say money confetti, and it was kind of funny until I started getting a lot of complaints. People were like, you're making me tear up money. I'm supposed to come here to learn how to make money, not tear it up. And so we actually had to start buying dollars and giving it back to people. I'm not kidding you, because we got a bunch of complaints. And yet these are the same people who are burning leads that cost them far more than $1, and they have no emotional reaction whatsoever. It happens all day, every day, and they don't even think about it. So what's your process for lead generated, no appointment? How often do you go back? How many times do you call them? How many emails are sent? If they don't book in that month, what's your process to make sure that you call in a month or 3 months or when they need that call back? How do you capture if a lead says, you know what, we're real busy right now, can you get back to me in 2 weeks or a month or next quarter? Right? How do you make sure that actually happens? Right now, what's the process? Who's in charge of the process? And how are you automating that to make sure it happens? All right. Next, how many of you accounted for appointments scheduled but not kept? Now, has anybody had somebody who said, yeah, let's book an appointment, and then they had to reschedule and never showed again? Has that happened to anybody? Okay? It happens all the time. What's your process to make sure you don't get too busy and you call and follow up in a week, in 2 weeks, in a month? Does that lead just go into the abyss? Broke and struggling business owners have to constantly monetize the right now leads. Their buy now crowd. If the buy now crowd doesn't buy now, they go, oh, well, that was a big waste of time. Oh, I generated a lead, but they didn't convert. That was a waste of time. No, you generated a lead. Lead generation takes cultivation, right? You don't go out and plant a crop, put a seed in the ground, water it, and come out the next morning and be disappointed there's not a plant there. Customers get ready to buy on their own schedule and their own pace. And that's the power of lead generation marketing, because if I do lead generation marketing, where you opt in for a free report, you register for a webinar, or you come to a seminar, or you respond even to like a bad date campaign or whatever it is, you respond, that means that prospect is in the realm of thinking. There's an awareness that they're going to be making a buying decision. Maybe not today, maybe they're not on fire, but they might make a decision 3 months, 6 months, a year from now. If you just let that lead, because they didn't buy right then, they didn't book the appointment right then, if you just let that lead fall into someone else's hands, somebody with a little tiny better sales process is going to get that opportunity, because they're going to stay on them. And they're going to get that lead to book and to ultimately to buy. All right, so you've got to learn how to cultivate those leads. When they come in, they're not always going to be ready to buy right now. You've got to stay on them and cultivate them. How many of you accounted for in your flow chart process, appointment kept, but there was no sale? Okay, good. Now, a lot of people think that if I don't get them, they're not to be gotten. They're going to go with another vendor. Well, here's the biggest opportunity, though. So they went all the way, maybe meeting with you. You propose to them. They say, we need to think it over. They go silent or dark for a little. Anyone have that? All of you do, right? It could be that some major crisis happened. If you don't stay on them, that opportunity really is lost. There's a lot of times, has anyone ever had the experience where you lost a sale and then a couple months later they come back because the vendor they chose sucked? Look at Jennifer nodding her head, big yes. Yeah, right? So those are still leads, they are still opportunities. And to me, appointment kept, no sale. If the prospect goes silent or tells you they need to think it over, do you just roll over and take the no? it's just like leads that are burned, sales that aren't closed due to having a lazy sales process or no sales process, no management, no follow-up, or you might as well just take thousands of dollars out into the parking lot in your office and light it on fire. Because that's exactly what's happening. Okay? Now, how many of you accounted for sale, you make the sale, but they didn't buy your highest level managed service plan or your premium package? Just show of hands, how many of you have a premium package? Show of hands. Good. Those of you who don't, you're leaving so much money on the table, it's ridiculous. You need to have a premium package because some people are just wired to always fly first class. They're just wired that way. And if the first class premium option makes any sense whatsoever, maybe it includes after hours support, weekend support, maybe it includes, I don't know, you figure it out. It could maybe you throw a phone system in there, whatever your premium package is, you need to offer that. If it makes any sense at all, 20% of prospects typically will take it. And it just bumps, and it's a way of increasing your prices without you getting all emotional and weird about raising your prices. Because if I say, go back and raise your prices, everybody says, I can't do that. We're already getting pushed back on our prices. We're already getting turned down. We're losing to cheaper competitors, all this stuff. So here's a way of raising your prices. Go back, create a premium package and offer it to prospects. If you're finding that 50, 60% are taking the premium package, that now becomes your standard one and come up with a more expensive premium platinum package. And that's how you can raise your prices without you getting all emotional and weird. And see all this stupid stuff I got to figure out for you guys because you're all emotional about price and stuff, right? So that's a way you can raise your rates without really feeling like you're raising your rates. But if you're not selling the premium package, that's the easiest money you're ever going to make. If they don't buy that day, how often do you go back? When do you go back? Do you go back in 30 days and say, now that you've been with us, would you like to upgrade? Do you go back in 60 days, 90 days? Do you do quarterly business reviews, annual, where you offer to them again, would you like to upgrade and offer some sort of incentive to get them to upgrade, or you just kind of wait and hope that they notice that you've got a premium package, right? That's the easiest money you're going to get if you're not at least doing that. You're never going to get the hard stuff right. So let me explain to you a sales funnel, because we are going to talk about marketing automation, but if you don't get this, what I'm explaining now, the cost, you will not go forward and implement this, right? You're not emotionally connected to the cost. So if you look at a sales funnel, and we look at basic. Now, we could get far more granular if we wanted, but I'm just going to keep it simple. Here's what you ought to know, some KPIs. Can someone explain to Peter what a KPI is? Where's Peter? Okay. Yes, someone explain to him. KPI, keep Peter happy, is leads, appointments, proposals, sales closed, and average sale dollar amount. These are some really basic key performance indicators you need to know about your sales funnel, about your sales process. Now, we did a poll of about 100 of our Producers Club on these KPIs for a period of a year, and here's what the average this was Producers Club members, 100 Producers Club members reported. The new leads they generate was roughly 72 a year, 6 per month. That was the average. Appointments sat were 35 or 3 per month. So that means 48% of the leads they generate are actually sitting in appointment. What happens to the other 52%? That's a big chunk. So if it's an average, if it's going on, it might be going on, you might be losing more than 50% not going to appointment, but if you're not measuring it, you won't know, okay? So appointments sat, proposals generated were 24, so 69% of all appointments, first appointment, end up going to the proposal stage. Deals closed average was 50%. And then the first year average revenue was $25,119.32. That was the average in the first year they got a customer. That's what that customer was worth to them. So this sales funnel, if you multiply it out, the total annual payout is about $301,000. That's about the rate that they're growing their business. Every year they're adding about $301,431 to their business, okay? Now let me show you the power of small incremental changes by just tightening a few screws. See, when most people come to me, they go, Robin, I need more leads. I'm only generating 2 or 3 leads per month. I want to generate 10 or 15. See, that's gross ignorance. You're probably burning leads. You're not doing enough with what you're getting now. So if we put more leads into a broken system, we're going to get maybe a little bit better. But let me show you the power of having automation or having a process for managing those leads as they go through the funnel. We're going to take just a 10% increase in each of those stages in the sales process. And instead of generating 72 leads, we're now going to generate 79 leads. Would everyone agree a 10% bump in leads is not a big, that's not a big jump, is it? No? Yeah, I mean, it's like you're supposed to participate that part, right? You know, that's like 7 more leads a year. Now that doesn't feel too difficult. I think we could do that, right? That's more doable. That's just a 10% increase. Now let's say instead of 48% of the leads sitting appointment, we do a better job at following up and we stay on them and we have phone calls or direct mail goes out afterwards. Now instead of 48% of those leads going to appointment, we get 58%. Again, not a huge bump. So that means we now have 47 appointments that are sitting. We do a little bit better process in going from first appointment to proposal, you know, and that 10% goes from 69%, now 79% go to proposal, which means 37 proposals are now generated, and we just bump our sales closing percentage by 10%, so instead of 50% closing, we have a better sales process, we get ahead of the objections, we now close 60%. That gives us 22 more closed deals a year, all right? Is everybody tracking with me so far? 10% increase in closing sales, not massive, but it adds up. The average first year, we bump our prices just by 10% by adding on that premium package. You know, we don't even get 20% to buy. We only get 10%. But 10% bumps our average first year sale to $27,631. Look what happens. The payout is now $607,000. That is a $306,000 plus dollar difference. Now here's what's important to notice about that. How much more would it cost you to put the 10% bump in? What's the only cost in that entire thing I just went through? Maybe a little bump in the marketing cost to get more leads. Does it cost you more to have a better sales process? Yes or no? Does it cost you more to do a couple more emails or make a couple more phone calls to get that lead to an appointment? No.